Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. Good day and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. I am Phillip Sydney. With me in studio is the Minister with responsibility for agriculture, food production, fisheries, rural development and cooperatives. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here again.
Mr. Minister, there was a bill that was tabled in the House of Parliament a few weeks ago, well, just last week I may say, and it went through its stages. There were lots of buzz in the House. Of course, that was expected, which was very positive. Lots of discussion. Tell us, before we get into the buzz in the House of Assembly, how this bill was conceptualized?
Well, first of all, I must say I'm very happy to speak about the Agriculture and Incentives Bill because it generated a lot of discussion, as you said, a lot of buzz, and I'm always excited when people themselves get excited about agriculture. So it was very good that a bill having to do with benefits for farmers and fishers and so on could generate so much excitement. Mm-hmm. I must say, first of all, that farmers and fishers and people who are involved in agriculture, since April 1st, 2005, got incentives by way of an application to the ministry. And if the incentives that are being sought, if the incentives were less than $100,000 EC, the worth of the value of the incentives, then the ministry would decide that and write to the relevant authorities to get the incentive so that the farmers or the fishers will get the incentives. But anything beyond 100,000 EC dollars, anything with a value of over 100,000 EC dollars would have to go to the Cabinet of Ministers. And every time the Cabinet of Ministers would have a cabinet conclusion which would detail the incentives for the farmer, the fisher, or the individual who wanted to go into agribusiness. And so this was cumbersome. This was something that had no specific boundaries, no specific definitions. And while the farmers and the fishers and so on were getting some level of incentives, it was always thought that the best thing would have been for there to be an act of parliament which would describe and detail in the law of the country what agribusiness people and individuals who are in agriculture and fisheries and so on can get if they were to enter into agriculture or into fisheries. So that was something long in the making. And since 2005, there was what we call ADIR, the Agricultural Development Incentives Regime. And then discussions were held over the years. And we had the draft bill, which we took to cabinet, which I took to cabinet. And many officers worked on this bill. I would like to thank them for all of their hard work. And I want to thank, in particular, Mr. Eden Compton, who led the discussions on it for a number of months with the various government agencies in commerce and so on, and all the senior officers of the ministry, the permanent secretary and so on, worked on this bill to allow us to take it to cabinet and then to parliament.
Okay, now it is gone to, for when it gets to Parliament, take us through the stages and all the discussion.
Well, first of all, the draft bill goes to Cabinet after having gone through various changes and the scrutiny of the Legal Affairs Department, and it then proceeds to the Parliament, the lower house, where it is presented for first reading, and then second reading and through the rest of the stages. It would, if there are any amendments and so on, it would go to the upper house with the senators, and there's another debate And depending on what happens in the Senate, it moves on to become an act. Well, I'm very happy that the bill went through all of its stages with one or two amendments. In the lower house, when we debated it, in my presentation, I did suggest and indicate that some of the provisions in the act would require time, and that some of the things in there would require the phasing process, that we would not be able to implement certain things immediately, but we were willing to work with farmers. And the Prime Minister did indicate in cases, for example, where we needed to even obtain other parcels of land so that farmers can get better places to operate. All of that would be considered. And so I'm happy that it went through. The amendments were, first of all, in one of the schedules, we indicated that a minister would have the authority to amend the schedule, because there was a lot of debate on the schedule, and the minister would have the authority to amend the schedule to allow for this phasing in that we spoke about while presenting the bill. Another part of the bill spoke to the distance from which a farmer or a business person can operate a piggery or a pig pen, the distance from a waterway. And in the original form of the bill, we had 15 meters, but we extended that to 25 meters away from a water source. So there were some slight amendments, but I'm very pleased that with all of the debate, that the bill went through all of its stages.
Okay, we'll come back to the question of the waterways and stuff like this. But this bill, your farmers that are involved in vegetables, in tree crop, banana production, livestock production, even the cultivation of various tree crops like latani, on the proceeds from that, and also aquaculture, also fisheries. Could you give us a little breakdown in each area?
Okay, well, this bill would benefit any business person, or any farmer, a fisher, or someone who wants to go into business. If the person or the business place is in the business of purchasing agricultural inputs, for example, plants, animals, seeds, seedlings, hatching eggs, fingerlings, and post-larvae, irrigation equipment and materials, or other watering systems. If the individual wants to go into aquaculture, the purchase of aquaculture equipment, fishing equipment and safety gear, banana industry equipment, waste disposal systems, soil and water conservation systems, general livestock supplies, beekeeping supplies, and any other tools, equipment, or materials to be used for producing, processing, or providing agricultural produce or products, or fish and fish products. Also, if an individual or a company wishes to establish, develop, and equip a facility. So for example, if somebody wants to retrofit a facility to go into agro-processing, this business can get incentives under this act. The introduction of clean and renewable energy, the purchase of a boat or fishing vessel in support of an agricultural project, and also the purchase of a commercial motor vehicle in support of the agricultural project. Very, very important. So it benefits individuals who want to go into fisheries, into aquaculture, whether it be hydroponics,
all this
and so on.
Yeah. We are due for a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Agriculture, one of the pillars of St. Lucia's economic development, creating opportunities for earning a living for the farmer and his family. From the field to the kitchen, the St. Lucians are finding creative ways of using fruits, crops, and vegetables grown locally. From local seasonings to special brews, from aquaculture to the cultivation of local herbs for export. A strong agriculture industry strengthens the economy. The country needs your support, so buy local.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Mr. Minister, you were talking about the agriculture incentive bill that was passed in the House that went through all the stages. You just mentioned a few areas which is very important for farmers so that they can, of course, see the increase in the production in whatever area they are in. Could you give us a little more information as far as the bill is concerned?
Well, sure. In fact, the Act provides for exemptions in Part 5, and the exemptions include import duties. So you can apply for exemptions of import duties, excise tax, income tax exemptions, and also there's a tax holiday for businesses, individuals who want to go into agribusinesses, a tax holiday of a minimum of 10 years in the first instance. So just as we have tax holidays for other subsectors like tourism and other subsectors of the economy, we also have now, for the first time, tax exemptions for 10 years in the first instance.
That would be something like a processing?
Yes, for example, if you're going into processing, say chicken, or if you want to go into processing of crops and byproducts, say cassava, into cassava flour, say for example you want to go into paste, tomatoes, or if you want to go into mash where pepper is concerned. There are so many avenues that agro-processors can now go into and get exemptions under this Act. What is also very important is that if you get a tax holiday of 10 years, there are provisions in the Act for you to apply for an extension of the 10 years. And again, it's to apply for exemptions of tax. It is also very important to indicate that the individuals who can benefit from this are individuals who, for example, individuals who are into the production of honey. And the minimum number of hives will be 20 hives. So if you have 20 hives and so on, you can apply for exemptions. Individuals, for example, who have 20 heads of sheep or 20 goats. You start with that, and your area should be properly fenced and so on. You can apply for incentives. There was a lot of debate about the distance from the watercourse, and in the Act we are saying that cultivation must not be within 25 meters, which is 80-something feet from the watercourse. But again, there's an amendment in the Act which gives the minister the authority to phase this in, so that individuals who are already close to the water source, we are going to work with them. The ministry will work with them to ensure that the practices do not harm the environment. Or if it's a case where the government needs to find an alternative area for them to practice, whether it is vegetable farming or whether you have a small plantation, the government will work with you to ensure that this happens.
There is room now. I know there is an agri-entrepreneurship program within the ministry that's coming on stream, and that should come out pretty soon. There are young people who I think who really want to come into agriculture, who can really use this benefit for them so that they can move into. I just wanted to introduce a young gentleman who was assigned. He's from the St. Mary's College, and he was assigned to the Agricultural Information Unit for his school holidays. And in fact, he asked to be sent to agriculture. And he's none other than Mr. Forde. He's from SMC, for the fourth form. So Mr. Forde wants to ask you one or two questions. It's now to you, sir. Over to you, Mr. Forde.
Morning.
Good morning.
I was just wondering, how can the Agriculture Youth Program get me and my fellow classmates involved in other areas other than crop production?
Well, let me first of all welcome you to the information unit of the ministry. I'm very happy that you chose our ministry, and I can assure you that your stay at our ministry will the memories of your stay will be with you for the rest of your life. But just to go to your question, there are many exciting areas in agriculture. You know, well, we have crops, as you mentioned, but we also have areas such as hydroponics, a very exciting area that young people can go into. We have areas, we have livestock rearing, and I just mentioned a while ago beekeeping, which is an area that is growing. We are having challenges with our bees and with honey production, and so we are encouraging young people to go into this area. What you have to encourage your friends to do is to visit us at the ministry and to speak with one of our officers, one of our extension officers, or to visit our website to browse, to take a look at our different programs, and I'm sure you'll find a program that excites you.
You have a follow-up question, yeah?
I have a second question. I've been with the communications department for 2 weeks now, and I've been enjoying it.
Very good.
I was wondering if there'll be any provisions for those interested in communication sector in agriculture.
Well, certainly our ministry and other government agencies provide internships, summer internships. We provide training for young people, individuals who want to volunteer, for example, during the holidays, and who want to gain some experience, as you're doing now. We do provide that kind of atmosphere and that kind of environment. So anyone who wishes to be with us, who wishes to spend some time with us at our ministry, any student is welcome. And you can tell your friends, those who are interested, to simply contact us at the ministry, and we will make time for you.
Okay, Mr. Brandon Forde from the St. Mary's College, who is briefly with us in the information unit in the Ministry of Agriculture. Yes. Mr. Minister, I want to go back to the riverbank cultivation. I know from time immemorial we have been, working with farmers, ensuring that they do not plant too close to the riverbanks, and if they do, we work with them to manage this. Okay. In other words, there's a no-no for constructing a piggery very close to the riverbank. There is also a no-no for doing short-term crops, because that's where we use a lot of fertilizers, we use a lot of pesticides. We encourage them to put tree crops and to, of course, manage the tree crops so that you can stabilize the bank. So the question I got from the House of Assembly debate, there was lots of questions, a lot of debate. What did you do this from this?
Well, first of all, I believe that we need to encourage our farmers, individuals who have houses, factories, everybody needs to be encouraged to protect our water. So as a ministry, while we are working with our farmers to ensure that they make as much profit as possible, we also need to educate them and to work with them so that they do not damage the same environment that we need in order for us to live. Mm-hmm. We have a number of situations where some farmers, they are in the minority, but some farmers, for example, engage in bad practices. So they have their piggeries, as you said, pig pens right on the riverbank, and so the effluent from the pig pens go down into the river. We have some situations where, in some cases, the farmers would have their crops planted right on the riverbank, mm-hmm. and anytime there's a storm or a little rain, they lose all of their crops, exactly. And they lose all of their income. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some farmers who do not have a choice. That's where they have their land. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the ministry continues to work with the farmers to ensure that they engage in good agricultural practices to protect not only the water, but also their own livelihood. Mm-hmm. It's very important to understand that while we are making profits...
Hold that point, we're moving fast and furious. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
There are many opportunities in agriculture, and broiler production is one such enterprise. For further information, contact the Veterinary and Livestock Division at 468-5621.
Welcome back to the program. Mr. Minister, you know, people may be now hearing this, okay, as though, okay, now it's legislation, it's a law. But as you said, you mentioned earlier, that has been different time immemorial.
Yes.
In fact, as an extension officer, I know working with farmers and advising them, do not, you know, build, like I said, the pig pens on the riverbank. Coming from a health standpoint, the Ministry of Health is also on board with us. We work in tandem with them in that regard. There are, I can tell you, there are pig pens right as we speak, are constructed, or I can recall one, over the river. And the affluent is the construction of that pen is so designed that it has slatted floors, and the affluent is being dumped in the waterway itself. Now, hear this. I mean, you're upstream, you're doing all of this. Farmer B is downstream, who is into vegetables. He irrigates with that same polluted water onto the cabbages, onto the lettuce. We eat it.
That's right.
So I mean, it is, so this now, to my mind, is a win-win situation. What do you see?
I think we need to realize that when we try to make money and to make profits, that we must do it in a way that is going to cause us to be healthy, and that's going to cause us to continue to have the resource.
That's right.
And there are things that can be done if a farmer has land that borders the river. There are lots of things you can plant on the river bank to stabilize the bank, as you said before, to ensure that if there's a storm or if the level of the water rises, that you can save not only your soil, but you can save also your crops. You can put in tree crops, you can, there are lots of shrubs and so on you can plant and actually make money from and protect the water at the same time.
That's correct.
And you are very correct. Some farmers may be upstream and there are farmers downstream. There are some people who bathe in the river, who use the river.
To drink the water too.
Some people drink the water, and it is becoming dangerous to do that because you cannot drink untreated water, and we more and more, because of some of our practices, we are making the water even worse. So when we speak about those things, we also speak to people who have, for example, those people who extract pumice. Exactly. And they dump the effluent from the pumice pit right in the river. So we also have not only farmers, but people in the industrial area, people in commerce. And so we're speaking to everybody, and to say that while we want to make profit, we cannot neglect our waters, because we need the waters. The farmers, we farmers need the water also, and we need the water to be pure. We need it to be good.
But imagine, I mean, okay, you have criteria for that, right? So that the small farmer can get incentives. There's an area where people are building on the riverbanks. The insurance will not insure their house.
Exactly.
So that tells you something. So you know, the argument is both ways. Yes. You know, because we need to ensure that our riverbanks are stabilized.
And not only that, I think Thomas and also the trough, those two events have taught us that we have no choice now but to take the environment into consideration in everything that we do.
Definitely.
Not only farming, in construction, in all areas of commerce. And so our ministry is playing its part to ensure that when we provide incentives, the taxpayer is actually making a contribution to the economy. And we do not want individuals to establish the enterprises in areas that will just be washed away tomorrow. And then we have to go back and rebuild and so on. So all of the incentives are there for the small farmers, the people with 20 rabbits, you can get incentives. Individuals with 20 sheep, as I said, these are small farmers, vegetable farmers. And so we want to do it in the correct way. So that is what, but I'm happy that the act is here now, and farmers and fishers can benefit from the incentives in there.
On est porté mon créole. En bout législation passée à Caille Parlement. Do you know about good legislation ça là?
Oui, législation, loi, qu'a parlé qui manière gouvernement qui a aidé femmes avec pêcher, avec l'autre monde qui a tué en business agricole, business la pêche. Qui manière nous ça aidé au pli pour faire business, yo faire plus profit et pour faire plus monde entrer dedans pour jouer un travail parce que nous savons là il y a chaque travail agricole avec la pêche. Avec ça, le gouvernement fait nous aller au Parlement, avec nous dit tous ces gens qui sont au Parlement, c'est membres Parlement, pour d'accord avec nous qui nous tirer si moun depuis farmer ou pêcheur ou gens business là fait application là il y a chaque bénéfice yo ça joindre. Yo ça joindre taxe tié en les certains si on certains go business en agricole qui on pour payer taxe pour gouvernement, yo ça fait application pour taxe ça sorti. Si un monde a gagné un pool, petit pool, zé pour faire pool, et bien si un monde a atoué la pêche, qui a gagné un gros connote ou bien un bâtiment pour atouer la pêche, là c'est un duty, c'est un taxe, un customs, comme ça, qui le gouvernement est d'accord pour faire application pour tirer. Aussi, si un monde a ouvert un gros business agricole, avec ces débounis, ces gros business, là, toute manière, on peut payer gouvernement taxe. Avec le gouvernement qui a dit, même quand l'hôtel, avec l'autre business, le gouvernement, ça, c'est pour faire application. Tirer taxe là-bas pour 10 l'année, ou pas qu'à pour payer taxe là, si vous faites application, avec les 10 l'année, ça a si un business ou bon qui a fait contribution à l'économie, ou ça vient faire application avec le gouvernement qui a tiré taxe là-bas. Vous avez ça en anglais. Un tax holiday. Avec nous partenaires ça avant. Et bien ça nous a dit c'est nous bien contents qui loi ça a passé parlement, mais là il y a un chai debate, un chai chicane parce que là ni monde qui a dit loi ka goumen contre fama, ça nous a ouais c'est un monde qui ni 20 moutons, c'est anti-fama. Un monde qui ni 20 cabrit, c'est anti-fama. Un monde qui ni 20 lapins, c'est anti-fama. Avec un monde qui ni 20 cailles vonvon, c'est anti-fama. Avec tous ces monde là, ça a un bénéfice en loi.
Well, Mr. Minister, we have exhausted our time. I want to say thank you for being on the program. I know your hands are filled. But what is more exciting is that bill has passed and we can see the benefits of and the criteria for that bill to benefit the farmers out there. Small, medium, and large farmers.
Very good.
That is very important.
Small, medium, and large. And we are encouraging everybody to get involved. Definitely. All business people. Definitely. The opportunities in this act for you.
Definitely. You've been watching Agriculture on the Move. I'd like to thank our energy in the Minister of Agriculture. He's very energetic. He has agriculture as a passion. And we hope to see results as he's steering the ship of the Ministry of Agriculture down the road. I want to thank Mr. Brendan Forde from the St. Mary's College for being here to ask the Minister one or two questions. I want to thank the staff of the Information Unit and, of course, staff from NTN. See you again. I'm Phillip Sydney saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the Move.
Agricole en mouvement.